What an absolutely unbelievable game. Twists and turns. You know, after that first quarter, you're thinking, oh, this is going to be what you said yesterday, a blowout. And then all of a sudden, it starts to turn, and the Sixers take the lead at halftime. And here's a couple of things that I would just – Josh Hart found a shot. DiVincenzo found his shot. I can't say enough about what DiVincenzo did on defense against Tyrese Maxey.
Yes.
That was awesome. But I thought we're gonna lose this game to Buddy Hield. You got to be kidding me.
I know, out of nowhere.
I will say that as much as I despise Joel Embiid and the way that he played throughout this series, I will say the guy's a warrior. I will say that. And he's an amazing basketball player. If he just doesn't play dirty, he doesn't have to play dirty. He's so big, so strong. And, whether it be Hartenstein or Mitchell Robinson, they had their hands full all night long. And a couple times, I thought that there were a few, alley-oops to Mitchell Robinson. He didn't understand what his teammates were doing. And then when you think about, some of the missed free throws at the end, both by Brunson and then, of course, by Anunoby, you're like, oh, my God, here we go again. Then they're going to be missing their free throws under 4 minutes. And then, of course, both DiVincenzo and Brunson hit 4 straight free throws. And, you got to make your free throws in that situation. It's ultimately what it comes down to. And they made their last 4 free throws. But, here's a couple of other things. The offensive rebound, the offensive rebounds by the Knicks, unbelievable. Josh Hart, say what you want, just keep the ball out of his hand like in the backcourt. Because sometimes he loses track of where people are. And that was, I thought, a really key moment, like early in the, I think, second quarter. They stopped. Maybe that was late in the first quarter, I forget. But, and they stole the ball from him. And all of a sudden, they kind of went on a run a little bit. And that was after Jalen Brunson missed his 2 free throws, and I guess Philadelphia fans get free chicken or something. And it's a thing, the way that Mike Breen was talking about it.
Oh, yeah, no, it's a huge thing down there.
As absurd as it sounds.
What did Steven Adams miss? I don't know if that was Philadelphia or somewhere else, but
on purpose.
On purpose to give the fans the chicken, yeah.
So, listen, offensive rebounds. The 3 guys from Villanova basically involved in the entire game in some way, shape, or form, whether it be those offensive rebounds, whether it be 3-point shots, whether it be getting to the lane. Jalen Brunson's amazing. He made a couple of shots in that fourth quarter that were just insane.
Well, that 3-point play and the ball bouncing on the rim and falling that was a heart in the mouth situation. Yes, you can't say enough about him. He's gotten to the point, I've made this comparison before, but he's gotten to the point where he's Derek Jeter, that you expect him to be great, and you only really talk about him when he's not. We talk more about him at the end of Game 5 when things weren't working out for him. Then this morning we're talking about the role players because they really stepped up. But, of course, this was another Jalen Brunson masterpiece. And he's involved in getting the ball to Josh Hart. That was his last assist of the night. And Josh Hart with a little fake pass and getting the defender off him and then canning the 3. But, yes, this was another absolutely masterful Jalen Brunson performance.
At 109-108 with about 53 seconds to go. That's the one where he – I don't know if he backs into Oubre or whether Oubre hits him. It was a weird deal, but he made it. That's Clyde Frazier. I'm telling you, that is Clyde Frazier.
Yeah.
For my generation, for the people who remember how Clyde would just weave his way and go down into the paint and end up getting 3-point plays that way. That's what he's reminiscent of. He's left-handed. That's a little different than Clyde, but of course, he's an incredibly gifted, and he's their leader. He is 100% their leader. Now, we get ready for another Tyrese. This one is going to be Tyrese Halliburton from the Indiana Pacers. And the Indiana Pacers lead the league in attempted 3-pointers through the playoffs. They're going to attempt 41 3-pointers a game. That's their average. Mm-hmm. And if they're on like they were last night, they're virtually unstoppable. Pascal Siakam was crazy last night as they closed out with the Bucks. But it's going to be a totally different type of situation. You're not going to have to deal with somebody that is going to be like Joel Embiid.
No.
You can't stop. You got Miles Turner, good player, really good player. But this team's a run and gun team. This team is getting up and down the floor and hoisting up threes. And if they're on, it's going to be a long night. If they're off, you're going to get a ton of rebounds on the defensive end of things because they don't rebound offensively.
No, they don't. The Knicks are going to have a tremendous advantage when it comes to defense and rebounding in this series. There's no doubt about it. They are a large favorite. They're minus 300 to win the series. The Pacers can score, and we'll spend plenty of time talking about that because, you look at 130 points, 140 points, what they've scored throughout the regular season. It's not going to be like that in the playoffs. But, they've also got Obi Toppin over there. And last night it was TJ McConnell and Obi Toppin that were having great nights for them.
The bench.
Right, exactly. So they've got an interesting group, but I have the fact that, and I have faith in them in this Pacers series as well, and that game one will be on Monday. But for the first time, I think, in a very, very long time, and Jerry played the Vikings clip from January of 23 or 22, whatever it was, of me screaming, thinking the Vikings were to beat the Giants and it not working out. To be positive about a basketball team or one of my sports teams and confident, and for it to work out was a new experience for me. It really was, because generally I'm just straight up negative and the team surprises me, then I'm happy. I was confident. I believed in the resilience of this group, and that's exactly what they showed. There was one point too I wanted to mention in this game where I thought that things could have gotten out of control for the Knicks, and it just showed how tough they are and that they weren't going to lose this game. And it's the end of the third quarter. And the fans are on their feet. There's Knicks fans there, but not as many as Game 4. And the Sixers fans are into it. Batum hits that three in the corner to put the Sixers up 5 with about a minute to go in the third quarter. And the Knicks come back and match that 5 points to have a tie game going into the fourth quarter.
Which was amazing.
That right, because you just felt that was almost a turning point. Batum hits the three. Everybody's going crazy. They've come all the way back. Now they built a 5-point lead.
Was that Anunoby in the corner?
That hit the three?
Yes.
To tie it?
Yeah.
I think so, yes.
Yes.
Yes. So you had that to tie the game, and I was like, this is the team, and these are the guys. This is why I believe, because they just put the brakes on the Sixers at that moment. Now, obviously, the fourth quarter was crazy, and back and forth and everything else, but it's just
amazing.
Awesome. What a series, by the way.
It was a great series for us. There's no question about that. And DiVincenzo did a hell of a job on Tyrese Maxey. Maxey had one of those off nights. Like, we've seen that throughout this series, how a guy like Josh Hart can go from 2 games where he looks like he can't miss, the games 3 and 4 looks like or 4 and 5, I should say, where he doesn't look like he can hit a shot.
Right.
And then last night, he hits the biggest shot of all. And it was Jalen Brunson who gave up the ball, and he found Hart, and all of a sudden Hart found his game again. There are a couple things he does, which is a little crazy on the court, but the effort, you can never, ever, ever in any way criticize his effort. His effort is amazing. You just watch him on the offensive glass. You watch what he tries to do and how that is the most important part of his game. And those are the little things that this team has done that has allowed them to win and go on to the second round. But like this team now that they're going to play is going to be a totally different set of circumstances.
And that's what the postseason is. Just like, for the Rangers and the Capitals series, they move on to the Hurricanes, completely different situation. Same with the Knicks, with the Pacers as opposed to the Sixers. And you asked me yesterday when I was pumping up Josh Hart, like, why do you think he's going to find it after these miserable games? Look like he lost his shot. And I said, well, because I just feel like he's that type of player that's going to put the work in, make sure it doesn't happen again. He can't be that bad for that long with what we've seen from him. And he said in the interview on the court afterwards that I missed a big free throw that if I hit it, we would have won the series in Game 5. And I wanted to put the work in to make sure I was going to be better. And I did, and I was. And that's... knowing him, that's why I had faith in it, because you watch him the whole year. He just wasn't going to spit the bit for another night. It wasn't going to happen. And that's the feeling that you have, and we'll see where this playoff series goes, but the feeling that you have when you have a team like this that you can trust and believe in is just, it's the greatest. And I trust and believe in them in this Pacer series as well. And I, you don't want to say that things are lining up, but I mean, with some of the Eastern Conference stuff that we have seen the last couple of years, a healthy Sixers team, a healthy Bucks team, a healthy Miami Heat team with Jimmy Butler. There really isn't any of that. I mean, you got the Pacers in this. Well, hold on. I'm getting to them.
Okay.
You got the Pacers in the second round, and then you get to Boston, who, by the way, is not healthy because Kristaps Porzingis is hurt, and he has been a major part of that team. So I know that the Knicks are missing Julius Randle, but if you look at the path to the finals in years prior in the Eastern Conference, you could make a case. You could make a case that this one is a clearer one than we have seen in the last couple of years. That's all I'm saying. No disrespect to any opponents, but I'm saying there are a lot of teams that are not themselves and are now out of the postseason. You're going to get a winner of the Cavs and Magic going up against a Celtics team that lost Porzingis, and the Knicks are playing the Indiana Pacers in the second round. There's no Jimmy Butler. There's no Giannis. They beat Embiid. I mean, this is
nobody thought this would happen. And by the way, just before you get on your horse and you're riding into the finals, just
Derby's tomorrow.
Listen, I know. And by the way, it's pouring down there in Kentucky this morning. Pouring for what is it? The Oaks, the Philly race today.
The Kentucky Oaks.
Kentucky Oaks. Yeah. It's pouring.
Is there a mutter in the field?
I don't know if there's a mutter in the field or not.
Yeah.
But I do know this: one possession, one quarter, one game. Just take it easy. And they're going to have to defend the three. They'll lead this series in rebounds, I believe. And if they continue to hit the offensive glass the way they're hitting it and getting those second chance points, as they say. And by the way, Hartenstein was great last night. He has that little float jumper thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's his MO. That's his signature.
Last night was the first time that I really felt like that Mitchell Robinson was kind of like out of it offensively. I mean, I don't know what he was doing, but look, he played.
He's not
tough
Tim
defense.
Duncan,
I know he's not Tim Duncan, but I mean, there were a couple alley-oops where I thought like they were throwing it to him, and he was like, "What's going on?"
Yeah,
I don't know, but he plays tough defense, and the one thing about Thibodeau, like he puts Deuce McBride in, and Deuce misses 3 straight shots. Next thing you don't see Deuce again until later in the fourth quarter when he does hit, or third quarter when he does hit a big 3. And then you don't see him again until they have to go small at the end of the game and they got to play defense. And, of course, they got him on Buddy Hield at the end of the game.
Right.
Which was kind of interesting. But all I know is that this is it's a great time. And by the way, now it looks like Andrew Schultz is all good for Saturday night.
That's right, yeah.
And the Rangers are going to play Sunday night.
Sunday night.
Yeah,
not Sunday afternoon, Sunday night.
I believe they're going to play Sunday night at the Garden, which is great. And then the Knicks will be on Monday night.
On Monday night.